asking about it. No offense.
Yeah.
Right?
Why would you? Austin's
Right.
a household name.
Yeah, I'm just too far north, and people usually know that.
What?
Because freaking Jerry calls me South Dallas.
You are in South Dallas.
Whatever, man. Well, then you're in North New Braunfels, right?
Exactly.
Well, technically, I'm more like, I guess, North San Antonio, not because people don't really think of New Braunfels yet.
People don't think of New Braunfels yet.
I mean,
I think if you
people
guys stop
do.
selling homes in Austin, we catch up in median home price in 2 years. I mean, we're 165.
Did you say if we stop selling homes?
If you stop selling, right? If you froze in Austin, like Mr. Freeze came down and just whoosh, no more selling, and then we continue to sell, we catch up price point in, I'd say, less than 2 years.
Interesting. Well, we are live here, Real Amigos. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but we're here, Real Amigos. I didn't do an intro. I psyched you out. Psych. There you go. Aaron's here. Perfect. Now we can start. I want to welcome Rod Alawan, who's Rad and Rod at the same time, in New Braunfels. I think we've had you on Real Amigos in the past, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it. Always good to be with you guys.
Yeah, man. The topic really today is about 2023, what we're going to see in 2023. Yet, jokingly, Ian and I said, I think it was Monday, we were like, hey, we should talk about why people are leaving Austin, because we're seeing a trend where people moved here for, during the pandemic, they moved here and they've been here for a year and now they're moving back. Like, they got so much equity in their property. They're like, I'm bailing and leaving. So that's something we want to talk about tonight, is why people are leaving. Talk about New Braunfels a little bit, because there is a theory out there, Rad. I don't know if you heard this, that I am moving to New Braunfels. There's a theory being floated around.
I mean, the theory is being built as we speak. Why is it a theory?
Well, I do have to admit to people that you did find me my investment property in New Braunfels. So not News Braunfels or New Braunfels.
Only one S in New Braunfels.
So charged up for another good episode. Yeah, Kevin, welcome, man. Karina, welcome. Are you talking about Hayes County using MSL data?
Ooh, that's going to come up.
Is it? I didn't see anything about this. What am I missing?
What? We got it in our emails. All the realtors, they were like,
was that what that was?
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. I thought I was in trouble. Because
I did too.
If you list something and you put, like if you advertise when you shouldn't be advertised, they ding you. They slap your hand. This up. That's what I thought it was. I was like, what do I do now, man? Seriously?
Okay. Here we go. That's what I saw. Yeah, you're right. I saw the actress MLS and I was like, oh man, like, what did I do? And I clicked on it. I'm like, oh, let me pull up the email here that's in front of me. This is interesting. Karina, thank you for starting this off. Here, let me share this. Share screen. Boom. I don't want to show you that, but I'll show you this. Here we go. So earlier this morning, actress sent out a cease and desist to Hayes Central Appraisal District, HCAD, requiring unauthorized use of actress MLS data. Here's what you need to know. We have been made aware that the appraiser working with HCAD may have accessed actress data, which is our MLS data, in violation of the terms of service. We are actively investigating the sources and the unauthorized data access of how MLS data may have been inappropriately used in the appraisal of Hayes County properties.
So the crazy thing about this is it happened in Travis County.
Yeah.
Now it happened in Hayes County.
Yeah.
What's next? Come on.
Yeah.
Only the top appreciating county in Central Texas. That's going to happen. You mark my words. You watch.
And people are going to call me out for having 3,700 unread in my inbox.
That's it.
That's deal with it. Deal with it. Yeah, that's pretty big information. What?
That's all your spam.
Yeah, that's all my spam. Why does my face look so red? Let me turn the fan on. Anyway, so that's pretty interesting information, because what that means is that what happened last time is that we sued. When I say we, the Austin Board of Realtors sued TCAD, which is Travis County Appraisal District, because all of a sudden, like appraisals were getting really accurate, and normally they're, $100,000 behind kind of what homes actually sold for. And so all these, prices were going up really quickly when it came to valuations for property taxes. And so they froze the next year, and they said, oh, we can't raise taxes and we can't do all of this because the Board of Realtors, and they blamed us for why they couldn't take in more money for school districts and things like that. So anyway, I imagine that will probably happen. What do you think?
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask. What do you think would be a good response for them? Because obviously they're getting in front of it early on, where before they didn't do that. It was more of a, oh, darn, we got caught. Right? So now it's hey, this just happened. We want to let you know. And I guess it'd be great if they froze the property taxes.
So quick question. Is this the appraisal district in your area using the MLS? Because it doesn't happen here.
This one said an appraiser.
Yeah.
Right. So they're calling out a specific, but he could have just downloaded everything and then distributed to cowork. Like, we don't know what he did.
But
that's why they're investigating.
A city appraiser?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no. Those are blanket stuff. That's all blanket stuff here.
Yeah, because it says unauthorized access to MLS data by the appraisal district or any other entity is unacceptable. The Texas legislature has been clear about the respect, freedom, and privacy homeowners should have regarding their home purchase and sales, and we will not interrupt that expectation. So what's interesting, so why we have a non-disclosure is that the tax district is not supposed to know what your home sold for or have active comps, but they are supposed to magically come up with a number of what the value of your home is. And that's how they raise our property taxes. Now, a lot of people are now upset, like, oh, why didn't my realtor tell me about property taxes? I'm like, I don't know. We've been talking about it for 2.5 years on this YouTube channel.
We've talked about it every episode, probably.
Yeah. I mean, we beat that horse to death pretty much. But yeah, and so that was what was funny. Yeah, they will blame someone. But here's what they did last time. They were, the board, like the next year, they had to freeze because they couldn't, access data. So they had to freeze and they went, oh, we can't raise taxes on you. And they made this big deal about how realtors were so bad for not being able to raise taxes on people. I've been like cheering, like I was like, you're welcome. Like, you're welcome this year.
But why is it that Zillow has access to MLS?
Well, that's because
appraisers don't. City appraisers don't. That's kind of screwy.
Well, that's because they
don't have access.
They became brokers.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the only reason, because they didn't have access, and then they were like, well, we'll find a loophole, and they just got their brokerage license, because there was a law in Texas where anyone, even outside of the state, could get a license, and that just happened pre-pandemic.
So the only thing, so city appraisers, how it's done in Comal County, it's like a blanket, right? So if your house valued for one thing 1 year, and they keep track of permits coming in, right? So if you built a pool or a deck, then your house is going to go up in value. If not, it's not going to go up much. But it will, whatever the market value is at the time. We all know it can go up 300% or 200%, as it is here, as it is there. But your taxable rate can only go up no more than 10%. So that's a lot of people freak out about that. Oh my God, market value is up 250%. Well, you ain't paying 250% more in taxes.
Well, you could, if you don't have a homestead, you sure could.
If you don't have a homestead, right?
Right.
Well, but that's a big deal for any investors. Like if this is snowbirds or something, if it's that kind of property.
Yeah, like it's a second property. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like if you live in Austin and you have, like, prime example, I have an Airbnb in South Padre, like the taxes on that aren't capped. Or let's say you live in South Padre and you have family in Austin and you want to come back and forth. You can't, one of those can't be capped.
So you got to put a house in your kid's name. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
What did he say? I didn't hear anything.
So that is a problem. I mean, one of my rental properties here in Austin went up $4,500, and the comment section was quite funny about that, because people thought, oh, well, screw you, you're just an investor, yada yada yada, whatever. But the whole point, because we had Anthony, what was his, a win on, and to answer Matt's question here, has anyone heard about any state property tax legislation? So in Austin, they put on the ballot to increase. There's two parts of this, and they virtually canceled each other out. One was to increase the deduction that over 65 exemptions could get. And then the other was to increase the exemption that homesteads would do. Yeah. Well, as Anthony explained in that video, virtually all that did was just cancel each other out. So your taxes really weren't saved at all, because they had to come from somewhere, right? So anyway, so it was really interesting that that they put that on the ballot, and then everybody just voted for everything. Yes, yes, vote. And then even Anthony and I were like discussing that, you know, you vote for one or the other. You really shouldn't vote for both if you actually want things to come down. Thanks for the tip, Ian. Can't wait to gift a house to my kid only to save my taxes. It's funny. All right. So, Ian, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh. What is it? What's up?
Austin is no longer on the #1 list of places to live. New Braunfels didn't even make the top 10 of Texas places to live.
Because we're looking with San Antonio. It's all San Antonio Metro.
And no, you
need Ian.
No, you need one of the others. Yeah. Hey, New Braunfels could have made the list, right? So the the question is, why is everybody moving to Austin and leaving? And we also got to talk about what's going to happen in 2023. But I want to hear from you, Ian, because we were chatting about this, and it actually, why Austin isn't the most net migration is the fact that we have a lot of people outbound as well. So, and then I also want to talk about the market, because I made a video 2 weeks ago, and it said, I was talking about the market shifting, and a lot of people took that as me saying the market was crashing, which is not what I said at all. It is not even close to what I said. What I said was a lot of these TikTok realtors that keep saying the market's not going to crash are going to be out of the business.
Who are these TikTok realtors you're talking about?
One of them's name is Ian.
No.
Ian in Austin.
Ian doesn't talk about crashing on TikTok. Ian's got a good, solid TikTok.
But the point I was making in that video is, every time we get to this time of year, a lot of agents are going, okay, oh, the market's turning, it's turning, I'm out of the market. And a lot of agents are crying because it's slowed down. What I said in that video, to be clear, I did not say the market was crashing. I did not say the market was going to crash. I said what I've been saying for a very long time. The cycle is about to slow down, which happens every year. So it's slowing down, which is going to happen. And a lot of that has to do with all of these reasons, right? Interest rates, all this stuff. That does not mean that prices are going to start falling.
No.
And I think that's what people keep thinking, is that I'm saying prices are falling. It's not what I said. It's not crashing. It's not at all what I said. Anyway.
So this is a very good point that you bring up, because I hear it and I laugh. I laugh so hard, because people equate, when they think about recession, separate issue, right? They think about house crash. It has nothing to do with it. The recession, what happened 15 years ago was a result of loose lending and people buying homes they couldn't afford, and 125% loans. Right now, I think 36% of homeowners in America are free and clear. So, and a majority of the other ones have at least 10% equity in their homes, and you only need 7 to close, 7%. So yeah, everyone brings this crap up all the time. I'm like, folks, you have no clue how different this is from 2006, 7, leading up to 2008. This is, people have equity in their homes. They have money in their homes. Why are we talking about crashing? Now, are homes sitting a little bit longer? Yes. Are things selling as fast as last year? No. But have we come close? Have we come close to grinding to a halt? No.
I agree. And what I'm seeing in the market, and we were just talking before we went live, and that's what kind of I cut just us talking, was the fact even Ian said it's like, yeah, for a week I was slow and now it's busy again. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. If you're a buyer in the market right now, like, you should be happy when I'm saying the market's turning, because what I'm telling you is the fact that we have seen all these crazy multiple offers, and it's been very hard as a consumer, as a purchaser, to buy a home, right? Would you both agree?
Yes.
Whole industries have been created as a result of this difficulty. So yes.
So what I'm saying is that as more inventory hits, which it's doing right now, I'm not saying that the more inventory is going to crash us unless a lot of sellers put their homes on the market at once, which is not necessarily the case. It is going up, but it's not that much. In fact, we're still lower inventory than we were last year at this time. So everybody needs to be relaxed. But if you're looking to purchase, it sucks. It really does. Interest rates are higher. That sucks. But we're at a point where you may not have to go into a huge multiple offer. And that is what I am trying to explain to people as buyers. Like, there's people that are buying VA with us right now. And it has been a challenge to buy VA because everybody would rather have, unfortunately, I mean, whether the agents don't understand how VA works or whatever, they'd rather take a conventional cash, maybe not a VA, but a conventional or cash. And so it's been hard for buyers to purchase, especially those loan types. This is the opportunity between now and really November, because inventory goes away in November. I tell you this every year. Between now and November, like late October, is going to be a much better time for a consumer to purchase than it was last year or right now. So.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, we actually got an offer accepted $5,000 under asking. So would that have happened last year? No. And also, I mean, properties here, you get the appraisal back, and we're seeing things continue to be at value or $9,000, $10,000, $18,000 above. So things are still moving. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm getting the feeling that listing agents are starting to freak out just a little bit because, oh my God, the house has been on the market more than 24 minutes. Something's going on. Let's accept any offer that comes in. I'm not saying that, but they're not waiting, days to accept something. I mean, they're not going to wait too long from what I'm seeing right now on the ground through what we've had the last couple of weeks.
I mean, look at this idiot. Like, this is exactly what I've been telling you. Like, these are stupid comments I'm getting. Also, these guys have no idea what's coming. Weeks ago, they were saying the market's hot. There was no inventory. We were talking about no inventory. Maybe if you listen, Tanner, like, this is the point. Listen, I said, and Ian said, everyone said that there's very little inventory, which makes it very competitive. That's why we're seeing all these over list price offers. Right. I'm sorry that you don't understand that.
Okay, but, so to Tanner's point, I want to add something to that. So I spoke with a builder today, guys, and I spoke with 8 different builders, each week, just to kind of get what's out there, what they have coming up. So all of them are relatively slow compared to the past, the past 18 months. But I just spoke with a builder today, and they said, you know what? They're only allowing us, CEOs are only allowing us to release 6 or 8 homes a month, not 20, not 25.
Yeah, so they're having to slow down. They're having to slow down their building for sure.
To your point, that reduces the inventory. So I'm saying that fewer available homes for sale, we still have a lot of demand. So we're not reading these are actual numbers. They're not tea leaves or whatever he's calling it. These are speaking to the people in the city, the builders, and they are not allowed to sell unlimited anymore. They can only sell 6 or 8 a month instead of 6 or 8 a week. So, and many sellers aren't selling, guys. You know this, because why? Well, I mean, the rates are where they'd have to jump into something for 3 times what they're paying right now. So where are the tea leaves? I'm just curious where, like you said, we're still 5 weeks of inventory. That's just, it's been like that for the last 18 months, around 1 month, 3 weeks, between 3 and 5 weeks. We're still there.
I'm curious to this, where you saw this information, Aaron. I'd really love to look it up. Builders are getting a lot of cancellations too right now. It was 16% down versus 2% estimated. I'm just curious where you saw that. I'd love to look into that a little bit more. I'm seeing what I've seen is builders actually cancel contracts on people because they want to raise the price, right?
So I've actually had a few builders where people have canceled on them. I've actually had clients do the same thing due to relocation and job change. And that could be great resignation. That could be cost of housing. There are 100 reasons why, but yes, I have seen an personal increase of clients that have canceled contracts with new builds. Could be interest rates, right? Like, oh, it's too expensive, I'm going to go here. It's like, yeah, but you don't realize the property taxes are, 2% higher. But, if you can get a job making more and that's better for your family, then that's where you go. Right.
I definitely agree that cancellations are up. I'm not disagreeing. And I definitely agree with you there as well. Janie and our team had two clients that canceled on new construction because they were afraid of where rates were going to go next year. So they are buying resale instead. So that could be.
Yeah, because we're supposed to have another hike in June and another one in the fall, another two in the fall.
I've kind of been in that situation multiple times too, where the client was like, let me go ahead and get a new construction under contract. And listen, any builders that are watching this, don't get mad at me. You got to realize what we're going through. They'd get a new construction under contract. And if we have to go resale shopping and put one of those, we'll cancel the new construction. You see what I mean? Because it's, you just have to get they're just trying, people are just trying to get.
But keep in mind, guys, what happened, right? There's two things that builders look for, right? The CEOs, if they're publicly trading, they're looking for numbers, right? And they're looking for surveys. They have to have both. If they're getting blasted on surveys.
What was that second word?
Surveys.
I heard servants. I was like,
they have to have surveys and they have to have numbers, right?
Okay, yeah.
Builders have been getting blasted on surveys because not the fault of anybody. All these people moving here, we never had the skilled trade numbers in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're getting beaten up on incomplete homes. Legally, by contract, people can move in, but they're incomplete. And now builders, the shoe is on the other foot because I spoke with two builders this week. One is a local, one's a national builder. And they're giving out these deep incentives, like $10,000 flex money, $10,000 closing. So you can use the flex against the sales price. So the shoe's on the other foot right now. Yes.
You say deep incentives. That's what it was. That was normal.
Yeah.
Those were normal incentives.
Yeah, but they didn't give the flex last year. A lot of these builders just give you the closing costs, not the flex.
No, I'm saying pre-pandemic. Like at least in Austin, Greater Austin. Maybe not in New Braunfels, but in Greater Austin, builder incentives were commonplace for years.
But now they're getting, I'm hearing from builder reps more than I used to. Like last year, I called them all the time.
And they wouldn't even answer. Oh, I know. I think I told you this. I had to hire a VA, a virtual assistant, just to call all the neighborhoods so that I knew what the heck inventory was going on out there so that I could kind of intercept other agents for my clients. It was crazy.
Now it's like they ding you and, hey, we have something back on the market. We have something back on the market. So it's interesting how it's really upsetting. It's frustrating because you know that the people on the ground are just trying to do what they're told, right? As far as new construction. They're trying to get the house perfect for you, turn it over, but what's coming down from the very top. But now what's happening? So they're looking at the surveys builders are right now in New Braunfels. And for example, Pulte in New Braunfels, specifically Vermindi, is now requiring the warranty team to go into the house before it's closed. So warranty goes in there and says, look, we ain't going to do this. Screw you. You guys do this, but we're going to. So basically they're telling the builder, the CM, the construction manager, you guys got to do this before we close. So it'll extend closing. But it sure beats somebody coming into your house after it closes and having to spread that out. So Pulte has responded to that. And
hold that screen.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted him to hold that screen.
The last one?
This one. Yeah.
So what's interesting about the builder reviews is what you're talking about. Is we had a client that just closed yesterday, and the builder rep. And so in this transaction, the builder rep would not respond to email at all. And it's somebody I've known for a while. Would not. And my wife kept coming to me like, I can't get the guy to answer. My clients flew out to do a final inspection. And when they flew out to do the final inspection, everything was supposed to be done. They're buying $1 million+ home in Leander. So and it's a brand new home. This is a brand new home. It was the model home. So they go to do the walk and the AC is not working. And he had promised that the AC would be working. We had to delay closing so they could fix the AC, it wasn't an issue with the AC. It's just they needed to service it, and that was it. Well, then he complained that it was like, well, why did I get 2s and 3s on my survey? Why did they do that? Well, bro, like, what do you expect? You purposely delayed their closing, not them. Like,
that's what the snowflakes say. He must be a snowflake. What do you need, bro? Come on.
So I wanted to show some information here. So of price reductions, there's virtually 100 that are listed as 2022 build. I would imagine some of these 2021s are brand new that nobody lived in or reselling or just haven't sold. So let's say it's 100 and for good measures, let's say it's 110. So 110 of these price reductions are probably new construction out of 696. It's 15%. It's a pretty healthy number.
Also look at the percent drop. We're seeing like 1.3%, 0.31. They're just tickling the numbers so that it stays high on the lists. So if you're looking on wherever you're searching, then it refreshes it. Some of them are legit, like 16%. It's like, okay, that's a significant drop. But a lot of these are just smaller numbers to get people excited about them or try to.
Look at this one, 2021 build, 299, saw a 16% price decrease.
In Buda.
And
it's been on the market 21 days. But it says 2021.
It's only 1,400 square feet. I mean, I got to send that to a client.
So this is an important time to actually list homes.
Burnett.
Guys.
Like Burnett? Yeah.
At or below market value. You mean last year, spin the wheel. Who cares where you listed it at? What's going to sell? But you have to really, pay attention. I hold my own when it comes to sellers. And if they want to, well, I think it's worth this much. Well, I'm glad that's what you think. That's not what the numbers are showing. And you want to really be on the market for a few days or 2 weeks. And it's happening to people. They still think they can get, what they dream of when the rates are higher. It just doesn't happen like that.
Yeah. Well, and here's what's pretty interesting is that let me pull my screen off so I can find this. What's interesting is that if you look at a graph of where if prices were just to go up at a constant level all year, right? It would be a straight line. I'm going to show you what I mean. It'd be a straight line from one end to the other if that's what happened every year. But 2019, 2018, all these other times we got to July and then it dropped back down. So what happens is a lot of people are still pricing, anticipating this to happen, but it's going to do this and level out. And then you're going to average all of that together to get to where the final number for the year is, right? And so I think that's what happens too this time of year. Why you see some more price reductions right now is that a lot of sellers are still pricing along that house just sold for $100,000 over. So I'm going to price my house at $100,000 over plus 25, 30, 40, 50 grand over that.
So just to insert there, agents are allowing them to price it there.
This is what's really frustrating to me. And I've been having this conversation with agents, like just talking about what's happening in the market. And I've had a lot of agents tell me, oh, I will take, I said, well, they're, people are pricing too high, whatever. And they're like, oh, well, I'll take the overpriced listing because agents have been struggling to find listings for so long. They're going ahead and agreeing with their sellers on price when they shouldn't and taking an overpriced listing to take it just so they have something to sell. And I don't believe that that's the right way.
They're just basically warming the seat for another agent.
Yeah. And that's where it's like kind of frustrating. It's, if I lose a listing to somebody over price of the listing, it sucks. I lost that listing because I didn't think the price was that. they'll list with somebody else after a while and then end up selling for the price that I told them it was going to sell for. Or I've seen it too where I was wrong, right? I said, no, there's no way it's going to sell for that price. And then it sells for that price. So it goes either way. But that's probably why we're seeing so many more price decreases now. But look, the media is not going to tell you. I mean, they got to tell you the doom and gloom. Like we know this, like my YouTube channel, all the thumbnails are doom and gloom. And then I tell you in the videos that, hey, it's not as bad as my thumbnail made it, because if I put something sweet out there, you're probably not going to click on the video. I mean,
yeah, it's like the weather forecaster saying, it's like the weather forecaster saying, you know, when I worked in TV news, the producers would say, Rod, call up Jerry and tell him this is going to be your intro. So I call him up and I say, Jerry, this is what they want me to say. Inches of snow tomorrow possible, could affect your morning commute. The first 5 minutes, guys, of the TV newscast, the first 3 minutes at the end of his first weather, it's going to be a dusting. So it's whatever to get people in, right? Whatever to bring people in. It's the same thing. It's not reality.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my market snapshot and I do not see it. I think it's this one. Nope, that's not it. Anyway, what are your thoughts, Ian?
What else was like? I had something else with new builds. So another thing with builders is so I've seen new builds getting canceled and them calling. I've had more conversations, more people reaching out. I've seen a lot of builder reps over the last year when they couldn't sell anything. A lot of builder reps left and you have new reps back in place, or new reps that are there now. And so they're reaching out, and it's interesting. And even the builder reps, specifically the reps, aren't being told a lot of things. For example, I was just at a community and I said, okay, you've got 2 homes to sell left. And the guy goes, yeah, that's it. This was a Scott Felder rep. And he goes, yeah, I have 2 homes and then we're done in this community. And I was like, where are you going next? He was like, they won't tell me, that's curious to me. Why won't they let that person know where they're going to go? Does it mean that they themselves don't know where they're going to build next?
No, I just think that I don't necessarily think that's it. You know, I don't, for example, you know, there's a huge community that's scheduled to break ground later this year or beginning of 2023 in New Braunfels, North New Braunfels, called Mayfair. It's going to be like a Veramindy master plan community. So I asked the builder yesterday, I said, Candace, are you going to be there? She goes, they're not saying anything yet. So nobody knows. The developer has not chosen builders yet. So it could be just one of those things too.
Yeah, I've seen that too. But some builders, so Scott Felder being one of them, I've done some deals with them. From what I understand, they buy all of their land outright. Right?
A lot of the builders do now.
Well, the ones that are inventory only, sure. But Scott Felder being a semi-custom home builder, they're like, we're just going to buy all these lots and then start our building. So they're operating almost at a debt-free capacity. So they kind of like HEB, you know, they know where they're going to go. Why won't they commit to it or announce it? Why the hesitation to announce?
Interesting.
I think there's just a lot of hesitation in the market right now. There's a lot of
I think it's uncertainty. It's uncertainty. Yeah. But then like I mentioned, the HEB, you have HEB they're like, listen, we're building this. We're thinking 30 years out. This is the biggest one. Everything's growing north. You know, I think I mentioned there's the new HEB going in, HEB and Costco going on in Jarrell.
It's Georgetown.
No. There's the one in Georgetown.
Costco's going to Georgetown. I have all the info.
It's north, but it's far north, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, it's interesting how that growth is. I mean, they know it's still happening.
See,
but do you have a PF Chang's coming?
I wish.
We have a PF Chang's coming to New Braunfels, guys. It's over. We're Austin. We're officially in Austin.
PF Chang's does not make New Braunfels Austin.
It doesn't.
You don't have hipster hats and crazy mustaches.
We need a couple tech companies, and then it's all over here.
Yeah, you get one tech. I don't think the Germans there will allow a tech company to move in there though. So that's just
in New Braunfels.
Yeah, the Germans got that locked down.
Yeah, right. They're going to sell Schlitter.
He's right. Jeremy is right. I'm going to tell you guys something now. I come from an area in the Detroit area where it's mostly Middle Eastern, and I used to get annoyed by that. And when I moved here, I'm like, everything's kind of German flavored. It was new to me at first, and I was like, God, this, maybe get old or something. But then I started getting more into it and said, you know what? Germans moved here 150, 160 years ago, 1845, for their independence, right? These people moved to other countries for their independence. They ain't giving that up here. It's not going to happen. Whoever's coming here is just going to have to, it's not like, hey, adjust to me. No. You going to have to adjust to our way of life here, or you're going to be pretty miserable. Because people are not, they're not giving up that independence. There's still a lot of old money here. I mean, there's still a lot of that signage on DOS Rec Center, DOS Nutrition, just the verbiage and the language. And it's, obviously the festivals. It's just still very much a German town. And I, for one, appreciate that, because I think being in New Braunfels, two of the top sellers is one is location, obviously, between you guys, between Austin and San Antonio, and the other is the way of life. The way of life being conservative values, okay? Free from government interference. Just freedom in general, being able to make decisions on your own without being told what to do. And people, when I speak with my client families over the last 2 years, I'm like, why do you guys want to move here? I kind of do like just to really qualify that. Like, why do you want to move here? Like, we want to be around like-minded people. What does that mean? Well, they tell me what it means, and it means exactly as I explained. People are just, it's just a different cradle here.
Would you say that the majority of your neighborhoods have no HOAs?
No, the majority do. Like 99.9999%, especially the newer ones.
Yeah, newer ones for sure.
But I would say the older ones are flex, right? The older ones will be flexible with you. They might give you a couple chickens. It might look the other way if you have a pig or something. But it's the newer ones are tight, and I would say I would say maybe that's a little exaggeration, but I mean, it's hard to find non-HOA communities, especially in New Braunfels proper, 78130.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think Dinosaurs D's upset that Kevin's not back this week. Do you guys? So the question that was earlier was, do you think it's going to be? I really wanted to answer, get to this question. Do we need to answer this Zillow question? Compared to the last few months, the asking prices are much lesser than Zillow's estimate, or less than Zillow's lowest range, and getting sold somewhere near asking price. Is that a thing? I don't pay attention to Zillow, so.
No, I don't. I mean, here's the thing about Zillow, guys. I mean, and people think, we're complaining. No, I mean, what I ask every time a seller says something? Well, Zillow says this. And the first thing I said, well, can I see Zillow's card? And they look at you like, what? I said, well, the Zillow agent was in your house, right? Meaning, dumbass, they weren't in your house to check the condition of your home, so they have no idea what it looks like. Right? People are just it's like,
well, it's 50,000 foot data, but also it's like there's a lot of variables in there. People putting their own stuff or other transactions that aren't part of the MLS and what the appraisers are going to value your house at.
So here's the thing is, when you put a sale in there, you don't have to put the price because they're a non-disclosure state. Absolutely. So wherever you're getting this information from, I doubt it's going to be as accurate in Texas as it would probably be somewhere else, because they can put the sold data in Zillow. Here, it's a non-disclosure state. So if I upload it, I can put 0, or I'll put $10,000, or I'll put something low because it's a non-disclosure state. I don't have to put the stupid price in. So if Zillow's pulling that information, they're not getting accurate information. So to say that this is happening, it could be, I have no idea, but Zillow isn't getting accurate data anyway. Their data is about as good as that one YouTube channel. So,
I mean, I like that there is a trend to see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really powerful to be able to see that there is a trend in the data, but you also got to, evaluate the source. And right. Zillow, the CEO, 6 months ago was like, yeah, we were way wrong. We were doing all this, buying all these.
Basically, we were
based
guessing
on their own data.
Yeah. The CEO came out and said they were guessing on their own data. So, but what about this question, since we kind of killed that one? What do you think is going to be a better deal in 2022, 2023, resale or new build?
Rod, you go first. You're the guest.
I think I'm going to say the safe call is new builds, because I don't trust agents anymore. If I trusted agents to price at market value for resales, I would say maybe resales, but I just don't. I mean, I think we're going to see rebates, like the car rebates at the end of the year with we're already seeing this with new construction builders here, guys. We're like, yeah, Rod, do you have any money? I mean, come on. I mean, last year, it's like, Ian, remember, we were calling every day, now they're calling you. Hey, do you have anybody? We have it back on the market. I think, I want to call them deals. I'm not going to call them steals, but deals. I would say new construction.
Oh, okay. So I want to piggyback off of that. I think early on, it's going to be new construction. You said you couldn't trust a lot of the agents. Well, I think a lot of those agents won't be here by early 2023. And so the ones that last are the ones that are either established or have figured out how to do things well. And so I think starting around then, you might have a better opportunity for resale. So I think it'll shift a little bit.
I think, a lot of this teeters on, we've had families email and call and say, Rod, we're just going to pump the brakes a little bit. We're watching the market and we just don't want to move in this environment because they're talking about the rates. So we've had families like that. They're going to wait, right? But we also have families saying, look, we're going to move ASAP. So the wait families is kind of a new thing, right? So it all depends on how many buyer groups do you have in Austin? Like, we have 5 here. We have international, we have national, we have really local isn't that much of it. We have Austin area families. That's been a huge thing lately, the last 8, 9, 10, 11 months. And then as the growing numbers, and then Houston area. So we have 5 different, we can afford to lose 2 of those buyer groups and still be competitive and still not having to worry about the ship sinking.
I love that. I love that you broke down the different categories of types of buyers that you refer to. And ours is kind of based on economy, industry, right?
Right.
Like, we have a lot of tech buyers. We have a lot of the locals. We have snowbirds, people that just want.
They're called winter Texans.
Winter Texans. So
snowbirds is a phoenix.
We have winter Texans. We have pandemic refugees, right? Like, they just, and then we have, the political migrants, defectors. Well, we have the defectors because they didn't want to wear a mask anymore. Right. So there are so many reasons why people have relocated here. I like that. And our industries aren't just tech. Before tech, Austin was good. Look at all of the historic data. We've been very good. And then we just added a lot more tech. We had tech, but we added so much more. So I think that there's going to be a huge increase of people that have gone through this feeling of great resignation. I want to start my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting. Or people leaving tech and they're starting their own companies. And I think the startup culture here is going to, if it hasn't already been, maybe it's underground and just exploding in the VC world. I think that startup, VC, crypto, even though it's having its heyday, everything's kind of having its heyday right now at the moment. I think all of those kind of new gig economy, new Web3 industries are creeping up.
So the question here is still, which is better, right? New build or resale.
I like my tangent.
And then this post down here.
So think about it this way. Here's how I always evaluate it with clients like this. Like, okay, so would you rather be 20 minutes closer or know that you're going to get something no one's lived in? Probably a smaller yard, probably smaller trees, right? Like, it's those types of things that you're sacrificing. So when you're talking about a deal, it's so relative to what you need.
I think you raise a great point, because I'm going to tell you something right now. I walked into a 2019 home the other day, and I said, guys, I'd rather buy this home than a 2022 home. Knowing what I know about new construction, it's no fault of the people on the ground. It's the CEOs who cannot shift to save their life. Okay, so the quality is bad. I would rather buy a 2020. So yeah, it's a good question to ask. I would rather buy a 2020 or 2019 home.
And Kevin brings that up too. So the real estate taxes, if you're in a mud district, there's a higher probability that as the home ages, the property tax rate decreases. Mm-hmm. And so that could be a benefit based on whatever your strategy is for that home. That's huge.
So I will say that I'm in the middle of purchasing a new home. I'm actually in the middle of purchasing 2 new homes. One, my friend Rod found for me here in New Braunfels. That's an investment property. The second I'm buying in, but it's a newer home. It's not brand new. It's not a to be built home. It's not new construction. I think you have to look at what your needs are. Hold on. You have to look at what your needs are. Mm-hmm. And does the home in that area, that neighborhood fit the needs? So that's one thing, right? But the other thing is, which one's going to be a better deal? I would say, I think you'll get a lot of incentives thrown your way towards the later part of this year with new build. The challenge you run into is, when will that actually close? When can you do a rate lock? All of those problems are going to persist. And I think that's why a lot of people are pulling back from buying new construction unless you can do a really good rate lock. Now, I saw Milestone have like a 3.5% thing for their new neighborhood. Somebody asked about it in South Austin earlier. It's called Messenger Hill. I literally just got an email to RSVP for their thing. So I will let you know how that goes. But if I had to purchase, which I'm in the process of doing, I probably would buy resale right now versus new build. Based on what Rod just said, Rod just, I always see RAAA and I'm like, Rad. Anyway, I think what you said is very important. If you look at some of the quality of some of these new builds right now, everything you said is 100%. Do I get a better deal on new construction? Kind of. A lot of those incentives get baked into the cake. So you're really not saving as much or getting as much as you think you are. You might.
He's right.
I think the opportunity to own a resale and have probably a little bit better quality home, like a 2020 home, I agree with you. So I would say roundabout, I probably would say you'd be happier in a resale than a new build. That's not saying that every new build is not going to be good. I just think there's pros and cons to buying both.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, let's make it clear. I mean, people get pissed off at builders on the ground. I'm like, folks, if I've told you once, I've told you a billion times. It's the people upstairs, numbers and surveys. Their greed, and this is not a political or otherwise statement, when they see these numbers, all these people are moving here. Well, that's great that you're selling homes. But if it's overwhelming your shrinking trade base, you're never going to finish the home. I mean, I spoke with a builder last week. He's got 30 freaking homes in his backlog. He reached out, nice guy. He says, Rod, we're closing next week. I'm like, Larry, we don't have flooring. We don't have countertops. We don't have a fence. We don't have a driveway. How do you figure? So he didn't, see what I'm saying? They sold too many homes at once, not their fault. They're given that information from the very top. Those idiots are not able to adjust. I mean, guys, 18 months of people getting pissed off. I mean, you can't pivot if you're a CEO. I know times are good. You know, I know you're going to say to the customer, hey, listen, you don't like it, go somewhere else. Oh, yeah, really? when you're trying to sell that house now, in a market like we're in right now, a different time, you want those people to come back? What the hell is that?
So I'm gonna drop a nugget for anybody who's looking for a deal.
Make sure you wipe.
So corny. Here's what I think. If you can get a couple-year-old home in a new construction community that has more phases going on, that can be a really solid opportunity for a variety of reasons. One, the tax rate, all that. Generally, the prices are lower if it's at an earlier phase, and they're competing now with new builds with incentives. And if they're selling a house that's in a new construction community after 2 years, they need to go. Something's happening, and they're generally motivated to escape. It could be a job opportunity or something. So I would say look into that as an option.
That's a good point. So instead of a closeout community, one that has many phases left.
Still has a bunch of phases left, yeah.
You know, I like Avalon's sentiment here, that Austin's changed. Obviously, I filmed a video. I haven't released it yet because I'm waiting for some things to finish. But you know, I'm filming a video on why I'm leaving Austin. There's a lot of reason. Like, I don't want to go into too many details, but Ian doesn't even live in Austin, and his thing is Ian of Austin. So
I did, and then I moved.
But so let me ask you this, Ian. You lived in Austin. You were Ian of Austin. Why did Ian decide to leave Austin? Because now you have a house in Round Rock, and now you're in what, Georgetown, right? South Georgetown?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what made you migrate further out?
Well, I actually tried to buy another house in Austin and couldn't get permits. Austin, the city, wasn't giving out permits for a new construction neighborhood that I was eyeing. And the uncertainty was a really frustrating scenario. And also there are the Airbnb laws, depending on where you are. And then also there are the tax rates. So lots of reasons.
That's like the big one, isn't it? Isn't it the taxes there? Isn't that the big thing that usually makes people jump?
Yeah.
Well, so the tax rates, it depends on what communities you go to and everything, or like what communities you focus on. But I personally like lower tax rates if I'm investing in something that's going to be my primary next. It depends. I mean, there's so many variables. That's just me. My next house will be, and this is just me, my next house will be low tax, no HOA, probably a decent amount of land, because
you're moving to Hill Country. You're moving to New Braunfels Hill Country then?
Oh, no. It'll probably be an Austin address. We'll see.
Right.
And I've, like everybody, I'm always keeping my eye out for it. In fact, we actually submitted multiple offers, and we had an Austin house, and then we had this house, and we accepted this one. The Austin one said, nope, sorry. And then we ended up getting, during the option period, they came back and said, okay, you can have this if you want. And I'm like, oh, but it was just the top of our budget and needed a lot of work. And so we chose the one that didn't.
Avalon missed. Ian isn't from Austin. He's from Chicago. So Absolutely. Do you think he's part of the out-of-state people?
Well, so
serious. Why do people keep? I'm sorry to interrupt, but just for a second, who isn't from out of state?
Well, what I was gonna say is I've been to a lot of different countries. I've spent a lot of time with different cultures. I love embracing the culture when I do spend time somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I came from Chicago in 2015, early 2015. So yeah, I'm not from here, yes. But I've spent a lot of time here. Also, I keep whining about being #1 Google local guide in Austin. I'm in the top 1%. You go look, right? I have 85 million views because all I do all the time is go visit new places in Austin so that I can learn, because I love it. Like, I love the exploration of it. I love finding new hiking trails. Found one today. I was like, this is great. So I embrace the community and getting involved in that regard, right? Like, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. You could live here forever and probably never explore anything. That's the other part of it. A lot of these people, anyway. I'll stop.
But I'm sure people who watch you appreciate that, because you're giving them added value, something they didn't know before, and you're not selling them. I mean, that's a resource.
I just love exploring.
Right.
I was like, have you checked this out? And then people are like, no, I didn't. Well, when people are moving, they move for love or money. I say it all the time. They're coming here to improve their quality of life, whether it's for their family, whether it's because of their jobs, or whatever other belief system.
Whether it's if they love money. You said love
or
or
if it's
money.
that they love money, right? Or they think they can make a lot of money by investing in the place. So I just help people do that. Like, what do you want to see? What do you want to do? Why does it matter to you that this is the place? Right? I just was talking to a girl from Boise, and I'm like, if you want to go to Boise, more power to you. I'll help you get there too. I don't get it, but that's me.
So Jeremy slipped that in. So he is moving. He's just not moving to New Braunfels.
I could be moving to New Braunfels. I am closing on an investment.
You said it was an investment.
I'm buying 2 homes. One is an investment property, and I'm selling one.
The one here was an investment property.
I'm cashing out on one property.
Right.
So not what I wanted to do. I would rather kept this house, yet the pool is a liability for renting out. Otherwise, I would have kept this house.
True.
I can't.
The one you just built last year? The one you had?
I just.
Yeah.
Yes. I just finished building. It took a year to build. And now
I remember those videos.
And my new house does not have a pool. So
do it again.
And guess what? The prices of pools have gone up pretty drastically.
Oh, the price of yeah.
But guys, don't you think? I mean, here's the question, right? Lumber futures are down, so future contracts are down. They're going to go down more after June. That's traditional, but it is interesting. Don't you think it's going to allow other things to catch up because of future contracts are going down? I have heard, actually, this is something new. Speaking with builder reps, that we're starting to see trades come through our doors and asking if we have any work.
That's brand new, really.
Yeah. So it could be a blessing in disguise. You never like to see these things, but the biggest way to deflate is through rate hikes. But maybe it'll allow some things to catch up. Materials being obviously one of them. Trades you just can't pull out of a closet. It'll allow at least things to get done. Maybe be stabilized a little bit more with the amount of homes being built versus what was being sold last year. So maybe this whole thing, I think that's just stop spending, but allows things to slow down to the point where we're like, okay, we're stabilized, but we know whatever goes up comes down, whatever goes down comes back up. So it's just a cycle.
Ooh, man, I should have bought that Tesla stock this morning.
I did. I was so excited to. Even if it drops a little bit more, it's on sale.
And that Costco stock's nice is coming down too. That's nice. Yeah.
You know what else?
I was waiting for that
stock.
I was waiting for that Tesla stock to hit.
That too.
I was hoping that Tesla stock would hit 600, and I was going to buy in again at 6.
I mean, there's speculation it'll hit 5.4. There's speculation about everything. Everybody watching this knows that there's speculation across the board for what's happening. Nobody actually knows.
There is every day, though. I mean, even when times are cooking, guys. I mean, remember last year? There's been a crash happening for 3 years. Remember? Right. Exactly.
I mean, I've been hearing the market's going to crash since 2015.
Yeah, I was going to say, since I've moved here, I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone always equates
it. But it was less people.
2008.
Then it reached critical mass, and then it didn't happen for a few more years because of reasons.
Yeah. So, and everyone equates a recession with a housing crash, and the recession is not. It is. It just people. They read headlines, they watch TV news.
You remember Gary Keller wrote a book on it. He was like, "Yeah, the market's going to shift," and he wrote a whole book about the fact that it's shifting, and then it didn't.
Well, I haven't read that book. I think Gary Keller did that. I mean, I'm not going to.
It's marketing.
Say nice things about KW or bad things about KW, but I think what Gary Keller, why he wrote that book, was to help agents to. The book should be just called probably Pivot.
Yes,
right? Because
absolutely.
Yeah, because it was more of a piece to keep agents from leaving the industry when the market gets tough. What was interesting is I was talking to an agent who's thinking about coming over to Real today, and he's coming over from one of those companies that really brings in people for training, right? I'm not gonna say which one. And he was saying, he was like, yeah, we were at a meeting for the leadership, and they were talking about, on most months they bring in 30 new agents that are brand new agents, like 30 new agents a month.
Yep.
This month was only 3. So, and I laughed and said, well, this is just showing you that people want to get into the real estate market when it's hot. The moment it starts to get cold, or not even cold, it just starts to not be easy. Because let's be honest, a lot of people get into real estate for, it's going to be great for my schedule. I love looking at houses, or every time somebody tells me that they're getting into real estate because they love looking at houses, I'm like, okay.
That was what you really think.
They don't. I mean, look, there's only a few houses that wow me now, right? I've seen everything. So it's like, once you've walked in, like, isn't it funny, Ian? Like, especially Round Rock, when you're walking around Round Rock, you're like, oh, seeing this floor plan. Oh,
absolutely. They copy and pasted all through the 80s. That's every other house was the exact same. And then they'd flip it. And that happens in a lot of neighborhoods too. It's really funny.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting that we're going to see a lot of agents really look. I was telling somebody last night this, I was sitting with some neighbors, and it's easy to get into real estate and sell a few homes.
Yes.
It's very hard to get into real estate and sell a lot of homes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It is not easy to do that. Now, there's a lot of people who get into real estate and they do, 15 deals in a year. And they're like, yeah, I was crazy. I did a great year. And then they go, oh, shoot, I got to pay a lot of money in taxes I wasn't preparing for. And next thing you know, now they have a tax lien for 70 grand that they did not anticipate. And that's what happens to a lot of real estate agents. They get into the business, but don't understand how to run a business, or don't really have a financial background. I think if you're going to be in real estate, you really need to understand finances and how finances work, especially if you're going to be telling other people how to protect their finances, right? Because our number one job as agents should not be selling homes. And everybody's like, what? Our number one job as agents should be protecting our clients and their assets. That should be our number one job. And if we don't know how to do things financially ourselves, then how the hell are we going to give financial advice to other people? And I think that's why, if you look at the two professions that are the least trusted, there's lawyers at the bottom and realtors are real close second, right? And so I think that's why, at Real, a lot of things that we're doing right now is we're doing a lot of things to help train agents to be better, right? That's the whole goal at our brokerage, is to train agents to be better.
At our brokerage, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the goal. And so whether it's through finances, how to really talk to an investor, or a client that's looking to buy a home and like make that tough decision. I think it's interesting that a lot of agents will be out of the market because they just didn't understand how to save money. That's it. That's why agents leave. They don't save money. They don't understand it takes when you get into real estate, it's going to take 4 or 5 months to actually sell a home. Right. Well,
there's also the meeting people outside of your cousin and your sister that need to buy a house, right? If somebody just
by the
got
way, your
license,
cousin and sister want to know. Your cousin and sister asked me last week. I'll send you a referral fee.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
a really good point, because everybody thought that getting into the industry, it's like, well, I know all these people. If you're just getting into the industry, it's probably better. I mean, take it for what it's worth, right? But it's probably better if you have someone that you love that just got into the industry. It's probably better for them to tag team with an experienced agent than for you to just say, yeah, you do it. Like, that can really mess you up.
Yeah,
and they can do a referral and they can work it together. So always remember that they can work on it together.
I think it depends, it depends on how much support that agent has too.
And how good they are. Yeah. Or right. Yeah. What their work ethic is in the past. If they've changed jobs 7 times, that's.
I think if you're a new agent to the business, people say, well, who should I go with? I'm like, well, you make sure you interview them too. You have to know what you want. You have to know what you want. And then when you sit down at the table, see if they can support that. If they can't, no hard feelings, just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone
thinks how many years have you been in the business or how many homes you've sold. It's what value can you bring?
Exactly.
Even though we've all sold lots of homes in the business for a good amount of years.
Well, I mean, here's the thing too. Like, here's the tough thing: is a brand new agent that is willing to learn, right, and willing to be there. There is a benefit to being someone's only client, right?
Absolutely,
because you're going to get unlimited service. Now, you could work with a big team that has lots of people on the team and probably not get the best service. It's kind of like a builder because you have a lot of channels. So if you depend on who you work with, there's pros and cons either way. So I don't want to say don't work with a brand new agent, but at the same time, like, if you're going to work with an agent, you want to make sure that you're going to do they have a contract coordinator or somebody that's going to help us once we go under contract? Are you going to be there through the whole process? Like, what does that look like? I think that's really important too. Like, you're going to get lots of support until you put a home under contract. And once you go under contract, things kind of get quiet for a while. Now, is there somebody, like, we have a contract coordinator that pretty much helps us through the entire process that we hire. She's keeping in touch with everyone all the time. So I think it's important who you use. But at the same time, like, I don't want to say don't use a brand new agent, like, give somebody a shot, but make sure that they understand what they're doing. Cause it's the bar. Let's be honest. The bar for getting a real estate license is so low, you could trip over it.
Well, I mean, I disagree kind of in that, with that statement, because in Michigan, I still hold my license in a holding, whatever they call it. It was 1 week of classes, guys. That's it.
Yeah.
1 week. Here, 6 weeks. 6 chapters, 6 different books, 6 different exams, and then 1 big exam. I think and then your renewal year is like 100 CE hours. I think it's more of a test here compared to other states. But to Jeremy's point, all you have to do is inhale the information and forget. We're not going to use how much of it, guys. Let's be honest, right? How much of it do we use? Slim and none, and Slim just left the building.
What's hysterical?
2% of it.
What's hysterical about getting your real estate license and all of that? Basically, it's teaching you how not to get sued. It's not actually teaching you how to sell real estate. That's
and then your broker is the one that that gets the E&O.
Yeah. Huge shout out to Christina Smallhorn. Louisiana has better food than Texas. Just saying.
She could be right.
I don't know about that. We do crawfish boils here, right? We got that Cajun.
I mean, but we go over there to get it. Right?
That's true.
That's neither here nor there. We have it.
And Christina's saying something. She's like E.F. Hutton. When she speaks, everybody listens. So
that is very true.
I was on her channel on Sunday and we got to talk about the market and fun stuff. Fun fact about Christina is that her husband, Eddie, everyone thinks that Eddie does everything on the YouTube channel to help her out. Yet Eddie is kind of the moderator on the live streams to throw up questions. Eddie's fantastic. If you've never met Eddie, her husband, I love the guy. Like, if there's one person I have a man crush on, is definitely Eddie. But It's kind of funny. A lot of people.
I know. We're over here fighting.
Yeah. I mean, hold on. Let me find a picture of Eddie, and then you'll change your mind.
He's gonna post a picture of Eddie right now.
Yeah. But thank you for that, Christina. I just attended online classes and then studied a day and passed first try in Illinois. I mean, I wouldn't brag about that, but yeah.
and to make that even worse, once you pass in Illinois, aren't you considered a broker, not just an agent?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, in California, I actually got my broker's license first, which meant like I went through all this extra training, like weeks and weeks, because my degree lined up really well with everything. So because of my degree, they're like, all right, cool, you can do this. So when I came over to Texas is like, no, forget you. You got to start out as a salesperson, whatever. And there's no reciprocity. So I had to take the test all over again. And guess who just got their broker's license? Eileen, my wife.
Your wife. Yeah. I was like,
really? Congrats.
Yeah. And my broker was like, congratulations, you're not leaving, are you?
Well, that's always the assumption. People think, oh, you're a broker, you're going out on your own.
See, Eddie Teddy is the best, and he has great teeth too. He does have great teeth. Anyway, so 2023, are we going to see a crash in 2023, Rod? Let's hear it.
No, I still think the inventory, as long as the inventory stays below 4 months, we could see some stabilization because the builders are being a little bit more controlled in their approach. Thank God, right? They adjusted. And sellers just can't move. I mean, you're going from 2%, 3% to 6, 7%. I mean, 5, 6, 7%. Why would they move right now? So the inventory is still low. People still have a ton of equity in their homes. It only takes 7% of that equity to close your house. Whereas in the past, in 2008, we had 10.1 or something million notes in foreclosure. I mean, so no, it will not crash. No.
Ian, I'm curious to your assessment, because you usually say really intelligent things. Oh, and before you answer though, let me share something with you, because you brought this up earlier, so I had to pull it up. Lumber futures are half of what they were in March.
What's the number right now? I can't see it. I'm sorry.
651. The high was like 1470.
And then this year, last time it was 1700.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. And
so we have families building new construction, like custom guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's something that's interesting. We almost fell out of contract in February. We sat down at the table before we started, right? And goes, guys, here's the new number. And we were already the client family was already at the top, right? And that was all of a sudden was $100,000 over because of lumber was at 1,400. All right. So now we're at 600. So I keep plugging the builder rep. I'm like, futures are at 600. We haven't cleared the land yet. There's some lag time. So can we get back our flooring that we had to deduct? And can we get back some cabinets that we had to deduct? You just have to stay on top of them, because these guys are always going to tell you, well, I know lumber's going down, but the other stuff, you just got to stay on top of it. Because if you almost fell out and had to sacrifice some things in your house and you haven't cleared land yet, and it's going to be another 60 days until you put forming boards or getting ready to pour, you could see some of these things come back where you could have more to play with because your lumber package went down. Your lumber package price went down.
I didn't even know you could look up cement futures. Ian, so market crashing, let's hear from you.
If we're talking Greater Austin, I'm not seeing it. And I have a lot of reasons why, but I think one of them is if you think about when people relocated here, not the people that just bought investment properties here and never came here, but the people that relocated here and uprooted their life and came here. For what reason did they do that? And how likely is it that they're going to leave? after doing that, because they did their research. They spent a lot of time. And just like the companies that invested so much infrastructure here, we still have so much growth here. Why would they leave anytime soon?
Right.
It just doesn't add up.
I mean, I think we also need to define what a crash is, right?
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of people, when I say the market's shifting, they're like, oh, Jeremy, they assume I'm talking about crash. Look, 2008, we saw a crash. We saw 50% price reductions in a lot of homes. We saw foreclosures everywhere. That was bad. Do we see that again? It's going to be really hard to see that again. Could it happen again? Everything's possible. I mean, look at the movie Endgame. What's his name came back, and then the other guy died. So, I mean, anything's possible, right? So, what I think is interesting, though, is what Rod said earlier was, foreclosures are down. Like the foreclosure numbers have not risen. There's a lot of metrics to look at to decide if the market's going to crash. But a market crashing, what does that actually look like? I just don't see us going down to 2020 prices, right? I don't see us going back to 2019 prices. I just don't see that happening. I think it would take a lot. Are we going to see a reduction in prices? Sure. What's that percent going to be? I don't know. Our prices going to, I think what we're most likely going to see is prices really flatten out towards the end of the year, because there's things at play, like Rad said. A lot of homeowners don't want to move. You're going to probably see those investors that bought an investment property put their homes on the market first. And so you're not going to see as many homeowners. Like, I was really reluctant to put my house in the market. I really did not want to do it, other than the fact the liability with the pool. I had such a good interest rate. It just made no sense to sell my house. So I think there's a lot of people in that situation. Now look at this though. Like, we're talking about people moving. I've helped a lot of clients this year that just bought a new build like 7 or 8 months ago, like legitimately bought a new build 7 or 8 months ago. And we just sold it for like 300 grand higher than they just purchased. So you're going to have opportunists who take advantage of that, which, like, good on you. Like, if you have the ability to go back to Houston or somewhere else that's a little more affordable and cheaper, maybe you bought a house here for 900, or you bought a house here for 500, you sell it for 850, 900, and then you move to New Braunfels and buy another $500,000 or $600,000 home, and you take that, and now you have a lower payment, even though like interest rates are higher, you put more money down. Like, I see people doing that for sure. But does that crash the market? No, I don't see it.
No, and there's also, it's the demand, guys. I mean, the crazier things get in California and other states. I mean, let's face it. Why are people moving here? So we still have, what are we behind Florida right now? We like second. What are we behind, Florida and Tennessee, or is it just behind Florida? So we still have great demand, buyers moving here. So I don't see where crash is it's not even close, because we have great demand. We have very few homes for sale, available homes for sale.
And people have equity.
People have equity, right? People have equity.
Yeah, I always like to ask the question, when someone moves here, would they go back? And what would it take for them to go back from wherever they came from?
Yeah.
Usually it's family, love or money, family or a job opportunity, right? That's almost it.
And you're right. I'm leaving Austin, but it's for one of the, it's not for money.
It's love.
Right. Exactly. I mean, if I be careful what I'm saying, because I have a whole video on this. But
right, it's love. It's easy.
Yeah, it's not. Look, there's a lot of issues in Austin. I'm just gonna there's a lot of things I just don't like about Austin anymore. I moved here in 2013. I loved it. 13 through 19 was fantastic. That pandemic just it warped people's minds. But that and the last president, those two things have just warped people's minds. And so but everything that's happened in the last year has really opened my eyes to what was important. And that's where things have shifted for us while we're moving. But that being said, there's a lot of things I still love about Austin. Like, there's a lot of things I still love about Austin. And if I had my choice, like all things being equal, I wouldn't be moving. I'd be staying right where I am, like legitimately, if this one thing wasn't an issue, which we'll talk about.
Someone just posted that Dallas has way more tech than Austin, and it's not as expensive. The problem is it takes you an hour and a half to get anywhere, and everything's so spread out. It doesn't feel like Austin feels as far as travel. And don't get me wrong, there's traffic in Austin, and it's more so now that you have so many people coming here. But there can be more tech, but there's more people, there's more land mass. Austin still has so much room to grow that until we're the size of Dallas, I don't see it slowing too much because that demand is still here. I mean, people are still moving to Dallas, for crying out loud. People are still moving to Houston.
You want to know what's really interesting? There's a website. Let me see if I have it up still. No, I think I took it down. There's an app you can get that'll tell you who owns land, and you can go and look and see how much land the city actually owns. And so my friend was telling me about this because he buys a lot. We buy a lot of land. I mean, he owns a lot of land in Austin. Like, they buy land, they put, they do a lot of different stuff. So I started looking into it because there's somebody that talked about Samsung and Taylor. Me and my friend believe that Samsung is procuring the lot next to Samsung now, and they're going to take that over, which is right off of like Cameron Road. But what's interesting is Austin owns a lot of land. It owns a lot of land. Why doesn't Austin sell off a lot of this land that they own and require it to be mixed use or higher density to help with the pricing, with prices? I mean, right. They have
That's what we're doing here.
Right. They have the opportunity to actually, so supply and demand matter, right? Right now, we still have a very low supply. That's why prices are going up so drastically, and why they've gone up so drastically. You add more supply and prices don't go up as drastically, and now you have more affordable housing. But why isn't Austin selling off this land and requiring affordable housing? Why?
And when we talk about affordable housing, we're not talking about $60,000 home. We're talking about higher density living, smaller lots, but more affordable. That's what we're talking about, right?
Right.
And that's what's happening here. New Braunfels City is focused on more affordable homes and higher density living. We have condos. We have more and more every day. Austin developers, San Antonio developers moving into New Braunfels and Vineyard. We have more condos going up at the Creekside Shopping Mall, shopping center. So we have communities that are east of 35, really in the sticks, not developed yet, but they're popping up because land is more available out there. But again, these are going to be 500-600 homes, smaller lots, to then meet that demand from buyers and from people who want to move here. So it would only seem natural, but I guess it's not happening there.
You know, that's interesting. I think one thing that's going to change when people are buying houses in the future, and then it's kind of like a throwback to one of our earlier conversations. I think they're going to get more land. I think builders are going to start giving slightly larger lots for the same prices before they're going to reduce their prices too much. I'm interested to see that because that's what people want. People want more land. They don't want to be on top of each other, even though that's better. When we've talked about this, that might be better for the city or better for some people, but you have a lot of people moving to Texas that want land, they want space, they want privacy.
Right.
I'm super interested in that. I've seen a lot of larger than acre lots going for sale recently.
But we're still here, guys. It's interesting because we had a lady call the other day, and prices are still, to build a custom home, people want, they send you this list.
500 a square foot.
Yeah, but they send you, right? Well, here's what I'm like. I always ask in the first couple of minutes, what is your max? Because I don't like to dance with people, right? I used to dance in college. I don't dance anymore. This is it. So they say, well, with the highest we can go is $1 million. And I said, okay, you have to purchase land and you want to build. So that puts you out. You're not able to do that in New Braunfels. I know New Braunfels is not a household name, but you can't, you're going to be touching 350 for sure. For sure. Your base is going to be 310, 312 base. You're going to be touching 400 a square. And that's without your land. So you're at 1.2, 1.3 with your land. So it ain't happening.
So some good questions going on here. So the land is off of like Jaeger Lane. It turns into Cameron Lane. It's right just barely east of where Samsung is now. What are they developing? I think they're adding more land there. I don't know what they're doing. I have no clue. But it just got annexed by the city, which means they can tax it now. So I would imagine someone big, and it would be wise for them if they're going to expand closer versus going up north. But whatever, I don't know. But my friend has his ear to everything development I hear about from him. So, and he's usually really spot on. This is a good question right here. This is actually a fairly good question. Is Austin as ethnic diverse as Prosper, Texas? I have no idea about Prosper, Texas, but I have clients who just moved, who've been here, and they're Asian, and they're looking to put in they're in Dripping Springs. They were looking to put in an Asian restaurant. Like they had like I don't know what it was going to be, but Dripping Springs told them they don't want any more Asian food because Panda Express is coming in. So it's kind of interesting that was their experience. And, they were telling me that their experience in Dripping Springs, for the most part, there in Parton Ranch is fantastic, but there's some things that they've had to deal with being Asian in Dripping Springs. So this is a good question. What are your thoughts on Austin being ethnically diverse?
I think that there are a lot of ethnicities that are coming in to the area, and a lot that are being forced out. I think it ends up being a conversation of what ethnicities are your concern and why, and where you are. Because if you're talking Austin versus a suburb, if you're talking an affluent part of Austin versus a section that's going through a regentrification phase, there are all sorts of data points and ethnicities, like I said, to look at, and cultures. And so it can be diverse. But such a general question, I'm going to say that you have to know exactly what you're looking for to find what you seek, whatever that is.
It's interesting because you can look up greatplaces.net, I think is the website. You can look up to see the diversity of.
So old.
I know. No. That's what I was about to say, though, is that, they have the diversity tracker on there. And if you go by it, it's fairly decent data, but I don't think it's as up to date.
Here's a trick. You want to hear a trick? If you're not in real estate, you can go on Facebook and start creating an ad, and it has demographic data. As long as you're not in real estate, you can go figure that stuff out. There are ways to source that information if you really want to know and what's current.
Yeah, but I would say, as far as like, if you want to say the local cuisine is a representation of diversity, I would say that Austin has a lot of growth to do when it comes to diversity in its cuisine. I think there's a lot of really good places, but there's not like, I've had people say that.
Wait a minute. What? Did you just say Austin doesn't have diversity in cuisine?
Not as others, like compared to Chicago or compared to somewhere like that.
8 times the size. That's a different.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was
like, I don't know if it does.
No, we have a lot of food. We have a lot of variety.
Yeah. This is
like
an interesting
9
point.
Brazilian steakhouses. It's great. I was just at an Ethiopian. There are multiple Ethiopian restaurants. I haven't had Nigerian food. There's, Indian restaurants. There's Greek. There's all sorts of Mediterranean. There's tons of stuff. You just got to look for it. Again, like you said, maybe not comparable to Houston or Chicago,
right?
But those are much larger cities that have had time to grow that.
People are going to move where familiar people are. That's just the way of the world. It's been happening since the beginning of time. They're going to move where they feel comfortable, where other like people are. And if you want to spin the wheel and say, you know what, we're good. We know it's not that diverse yet, but maybe it'll happen overnight. It ain't going to happen overnight, but give it a shot.
And it's interesting. I saw this article. I don't remember where it was from, but it was like, I don't think it could have been from Austin Business Journal, but it was like talking about all the new restaurants coming in. And one article I saw was pretty ethnically diverse. It wasn't all like taco places or pizza places, right? It was like some stuff I'm like, oh, what is this? So I'm interested to see what happens in the next year or so. Cause look, we've had people from all over. I have clients that are looking at bringing over an Asian food chain, like not chain, but like create like a restaurant. And so I'm curious to see what happens over the next couple of years in Austin. I think it will change and get better. Even like Kevin, when he's been on here, is really like said how excited he is for the change and what restaurants and stuff come here. As long as we don't get any more PF Chang's, I think we'll be okay, right?
Here, what worries me?
It was a joke for anybody that's coming on now. Brad earlier said that they're getting PF Chang's, and I don't think that was like a dig at something. It wasn't.
What worries me is if you have a new restaurant that comes into town and it is, let's say, Moroccan food. The concern becomes how many people are going to go to that restaurant. Right. And there are a lot of restaurants, that's a hard industry that start up and then they're gone. And we had a lot shutter over the last couple of years. We lost some good places. And so that's the kind of thing that if you want more diversity in cuisine, then you have to put yourself in that position and go experience more cuisine and support these different restaurants.
Well, too,
go ahead.
You need, look, you also need like better marketing around those things too, right? Like if you're going to bring in, I don't know, like name something that's super authentic to their region that we don't have here, right? Like you need a really good campaign of getting people in the door to experience it and then spread the word of mouth. So that's a problem. So, a lot of businesses, when they start out, like we don't see them, but the advent of Instagram, now I can see all these places that I would never have seen, their food, all this stuff. And I think, business owners are doing this really have to lean into Instagram and whatever to really promote their businesses. Otherwise people aren't going to see it, just like you said, and they're not going to go. Like you drive by all these strip malls and you see all these words on signs and I don't know what's good or bad.
Those are the ones you go to.
I know, but like, I don't know
how to say that. I got to try it. It's good.
Yeah. If I don't know how to say it, I got to try it.
Yeah. And
so
if you
can say Panda Express, then definitely
in there, then you're like, okay, this is probably legit food.
Yeah.
And then you try it and you're like, okay, either it's your thing or it's not, but that experience is, I don't know. I think it's worth it. I love that.
Well, the one thing that's tough about Austin too, is like, if you go to a pretty dense city, like that's the problem with Austin. It's just not as dense. Like, I'm in Circle C, so I'm a little far away. It's really hard to get food delivered here. I have a family that lives in 78704. They bought a beautiful place there. And we were talking about like, they're like, yeah, we really love it because on most nights we can get anything delivered here. Like it depends on where you live too. Like if you live in 78704 closer to downtown where you're going to have a better mix. Like they were saying, there's like really good Colombian food there. She's Colombian. So like they have really good Colombian food there. They have really good Asian food there. They had like, they started naming off all this stuff I'd never heard while I'm sitting there at Cosmic Coffee eating the tacos from Mission Viejo. Like, oh, great.
No, I mean, you have to have base. I think you have to have a base. You have to have a number of people saying, I wish there was a Whole Foods here, or I wish there was this, or I wish there was that. We have one Indian restaurant in New Braunfels. And I know the owners are super nice. I said, how many Indian families do you think are in New Braunfels? Like 7 or 8. They know all of them. So it's not, the demand still has to be there because, okay, people will try it at first, right? We're going to try it, right? But are we going to go back over and over and over? That's the thing. Everybody can try it. It's a novelty. So everyone's going to try it, but is it going to become part of their lifestyle to go every Friday or every Tuesday?
Well, you know what's pretty interesting though is talk about going back to somewhere. If it's too hard to get in a place, people aren't going to go back. So if they don't have the staff, if they don't have all the stuff that we're facing, it's going to be challenged for them to stay open. They opened up this new restaurant close to my house. It's like a seafood restaurant called like Keepers or something like that. Keepers. And then they have Oat House next to it. Like they created a restaurant. There's a restaurant that they just cut in half. Now they have 2 places. Doesn't matter which one you go to. It's like a 2-hour wait. Like, why would you even go? I've gone to one side to try it and I was like, oh, this is really good. But it took me 2 hours to get food. And then I went to the other one. It was an hour just to get, and we were sitting at the bar. So the thing is, like, I'm not going back to either one of those places. I'd rather go to Salt Traders, which is further up the road for seafood. I'd rather go up to Salt Traders, which is phenomenal. And it's further away because I know I'm not going to wait 2 hours to take a seat there. So
there's an easy answer for that. And I understand your frustration because I've done that. I've been sitting in line in Taco Shack and can't get any help. But on Google Maps now, they have a heat map.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Which that answers your question. That fixes it, right?
Well,
but you not the labor,
like, it's 5 o'clock. Let me go get some food, and then you look at the heat map. It's like, don't come here during 5 o'clock. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, but then there might be a new place 3 doors down that is perfect.
Yeah,
it might not be what you were looking for, but it's still something that it could be great if you haven't tried.
Though, guys, this opens up another can because. The pandemic gave us all a taste of, we like this family life. We like to be home, and the employer said, you can be home and still work. I eventually think we're seeing the beginning of the end as far as traditional experiences, like dining experience. Because like Jeremy said, who wants to wait 2 hours? Let's just do something else, whether it's cooking at home or something. So I think a lot of this stuff fades.
I like that you say that. I think, I remember when I was leaving the Chicago area and I saw this store pop up and it was like a coffee and lube. It was an oil change place, but it was like you sit there. It was almost like a coffee house while you get your oil changed. I love the concept of having hybrid places. Yeah, and Austin has some fusion places that are kind of like that. And I think that is should be the new norm.
It's like a gas station, right? You get gas and you get, a pop or soda or chips. And it's like a multi.
Gas is going the way of the dodo. Might take a minute, but we'll see. So you saw the Tesla, they're trying to do, I think in California, they're trying to do a movie theater. So you charge and you watch a movie, that one's a controversial thing because you can watch it in your car. Why would you go? Why would you want? But a drive-in, can you imagine a drive-in while you're charging your car? Yeah, that's something different. And then they have the restaurant that you can walk up to.
Huh.
I opened up Facebook and I just realized that there's a reason I haven't been looking at Facebook for many months. So I'm gonna have to keep that. All right, we've done an hour and 38 minutes or so. Rod, thank you so much for helping me in New Braunfels.
Thank you, guys.
At the end of this, I'm gonna say where I'm moving to. So everybody ready? I am moving to